We're so excited to have you, Michael, on our show. We've been playing your song "Worship in Me," and I love your music video. I've been talking to you about our boys, and so I'm so excited to finally get to interview you. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're really well, you're a new artist for us, so we don't know anything yet. I mean, I know you're a Cowboys fan, so my first instinct is to play everything you send me. Um, but but we play it because it's good. But also we would just want to hear more about like who you are, where are you from, and how did you turn into, music ministry?
Well, I'm originally from Queens, New York, and I lived with my grandmother in New York, and I moved down there with her, not more down to South Carolina with her when I was about 8 or 9 because my mother and my father was both on drugs and it just wasn't a good situation. So I moved with my grandma to South Carolina, started going to church with her, just started growing in the Lord. Um, and God called me to minister in music. Um, man, I've been doing this for about 20 something years now. But before that, when I was a teenager, I had a record deal in New York doing secular music. And one day on the train going to the studio, the Lord said, "This is not what I called you to do. I called you to minister to the lost." And I told the label, "Hey man, I can't do this no more." The Lord told me to, this is not what I'm supposed to do, and they got upset, but by the grace of God, they let me out the contract. I never heard from them again. It's been 20 something years, and I've just been singing for Jesus ever since.
That's a really hard thing to do. I don't think people realize how hard it is to switch industries like that because it's like, unfortunately, it's like if one industry accepts you, the other one doesn't. It seems like,
Right.
and I've had people who have been, I have a friend of mine that I interviewed a while ago that he started out doing horror films, like directing them because that's the job he got and he had to pay the bills. But then he immediately wanted to go to like drama movies and things like that. And he couldn't get a job in anything but horror. No one wanted him to do anything else. And he started doing a virtual reality Bible app. And everybody in the industry turned on him like on a dime. Like all these people, he had like the best of the best. He could go to any award show he wanted, all that stuff. And then, on the flip of a dime, as soon as he, says he wants to do this Bible app, like, everybody's like, well, we're done with you. And but anything he wanted to do, but then the Christian industry didn't want him because he was a horror film director. And so it's like, what, help me out, people. Like, where do you go from here? I mean, um, but God uses people like that. People who have, I mean, some of the most incredible stories in the Bible are people who had a past that was a lot more questionable, like murderers and thieves and adulterers. I mean, there's a lot of great people in the Bible that didn't start out that way. And let's hear it for grandmas because I have a lot of friends raised by their grandmothers. And my mom was a single mom and she raised me, but my grandmother was like, right, right there along with her. I mean, a lot of grandparents are really stepping up. It seems like the last couple of generations.
Right. Definitely.
And,
Yeah, when I was on that, it's funny the time that I was on the train when I told my grandma, "Hey, I really want to do this for God." She said, well, first of all, she started crying
I
and
bet,
she was so
yeah.
happy because she said that whole time her and her friend was praying for me, and I didn't know it.
Aw. Well, I went. So I'm curious. This has nothing to do with your music, but how did you become a Dallas Cowboy fan? I mean, it's smart, but how did you discover how awesome we are?
I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan since I guess 9 or 10. It really happened because I played TV football when I was little, recreation football, and every year I played for the Cowboys. Every year. And I remember even being that young there was such a pride wearing that star on the side of my helmet.
I
And
know, right?
we won the championship like every year. Well, first year we lost, but the next 2 years we won. Everybody didn't want to play us. We were so good, and it was just Cowboys. It was just Cowboys, and especially being on the team at the time when Edmonds Smith and
Oh my,
you
yeah.
know, yeah. So when I was playing Pee Wee football, that was the team that was running the NFL. So it's been them boys ever since.
You know, and I grew up in Dallas, so like my whole childhood was Dallas Cowboy mugs and cups everywhere. And even now, my mom still sends me stuff from Texas. And my son is a Detroit Lions fan because I raised my kids in Michigan. But second to that, he's a Cowboys fan. So when the Lions and the Cowboys play, we have to fight a little. But I mean, I can't be anything else. I mean, good, bad, and different. However they do, they are my team. And you know what I fell for was Tom Landry. I thought he was one of the classiest coaches. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, godly man, and just was so graceful about being a coach. And but I really just thought the Cowboys. I love the look. I have to admit, I fell for the star too. But what's funny is I thought, my favorite teams, my college team is UT of the Longhorns, and then my NFL is the Cowboys. But my homegrown football team was the Farmers. I'm like, that's so my life: Farmers, livestock, and Cowboys. Like that's my raising. So, but I mean, like, what about Prescott? Where did this guy come from? I mean, oh my gosh, the whole team has been incredible this year. But that dude, I mean,
I love Prescott. I just love the fact that he's a fighter.
yeah.
Everybody keeps talking about, oh, he don't throw downfield. I'm like, he don't have to, man. This dude will run over you.
And he gets the job done. What do you care how he does it?
Right, exactly.
And we got it. We got to take over the Rams this weekend. We got to eliminate them, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm looking for. I'm nervous, but I'm excited too because they're hungry, and that's all that matters. That defense is going to eat.
Well, other than that, you have a gorgeous wife, by the way, and you have a
Thank
little
you.
girl, right?
Yeah, so my wife Chrissy and my daughter Heavenly.
That is so adorable. She is beautiful. Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you.
Um, I that's something probably that affected her obviously as well. Like, now, did you meet her like before or after you got into music?
Actually, we were. She was one of my best friends in high school.
Oh my
And
God, so cute.
yeah, so I was the guy that would she would talk to get advice about other guys.
There's always that guy. My son is that guy. Like, he has a lot of girls that, come to him. He's like, why am I not the guy you're coming to say I'm interested in you? Why am I the guy that says, I'm gonna be the shoulder to lean on and all that? But but it's hard to transition out of that friend zone. Forget the end zone. The friend zone is a lot harder.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we just I was actually just me and another friend. We actually kind of introduced her to Christ, and after that she joined the church, and so we was going to high school and church together, and then she joined the Army. She's a staff sergeant in the Army. Well, former staff sergeant in the Army. She
That's
retired.
so cool.
And and we lost touch. And then I was engaged to someone else when she was gone. And by the grace of God, that didn't go into marriage. That would have been terrible.
Well, yes.
And when she got back, we just got in touch again and renewed the friendship and just fell in love. And now, 11 years later, here we are.
Oh my gosh, that's cool. I mean, I swear I can spot someone with military in their blood a mile away. My son introduced me to a guy I didn't know he was friends with in college, and I said military, and he said Army Reserve. How did you know? And I said, because there's something about the way you hold yourself, and especially the manners. And I mean, I think manners, they either got drugged through church all their life, or they were in the military. It's,
Right,
you know what I
definitely.
mean? Or they had a Southern mama that just, whooped it into them. But I had everything but the military. But I love that she, that makes a good mom. She can structure things, I bet.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why my daughter is homeschooled. My wife homeschools her. Yeah, so she's definitely structured.
So when it comes to the music that you're doing now, I mean, I will tell you this too, your branding is cool. You're like the way your social media posts, I don't know who was on your team or if it's you doing it all yourself, but your your media is like on point. Like every time you announce something or anything, you always have cool graphics. That's really important. It really shows a professionalism behind it because you still need everything you do that you need to do unto God, which is, put out the most excellent thing you can do. And I think you're bringing a really good professionalism to it as well.
Oh wow, thank you. Yeah, that's all me because well, I it's amazing. I started doing it and learning how to do it, the graphics and stuff, because I got tired of broken promises, people saying it would help me.
Yeah.
So I said, I need to learn how to do this by myself. So it's just hours of just YouTubing and just filling around with programs until you get it and praying and seeking God. And as far as the photos, I have a photography company. And it's the same thing. I started that because I got tired of paying people for pictures I wasn't satisfied with. And, especially not having, as an artist, you put so much financial, uh, I guess,
Resources.
sacrifice,
Yeah.
yeah, into your music. So it's funny. We was hurting financially, and I, I I said, Lord, give me a witty idea to bring in some extra income and to also be able to use, not depend on anybody. Um, and the Lord just said, start photography. And I was like, what? I don't know anything about photography. What are you talking? And I told my wife, I said, this is going to sound strange, but God told me to start photography. And I'm thinking she's going to tell me you're crazy. She said, well, you better listen.
Oh,
And
that's my kind of
yeah,
wife. Good
but
wifey.
I didn't have the money to buy a camera, so I had to ask my grandmother, "Hey, can I borrow some money from you to buy cameras?" And I'm thinking she's going to say no because professional cameras are very expensive, and she said sure.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
can't explain it. I went and bought the camera, and I can't explain it. The moment I opened it and started using it, it's like the Holy Spirit started showing me what to do. So I mean, and when I was in South Carolina, the media photography just immediately took off. Immediately. So, I'm grateful that God has been blessing me with gifts to use for the kingdom and also as income for my family.
I think as an artist too that eventually you have to hand off the ball because you end up needing to concentrate on just being the artist. But I think if every artist like does a lot of that for themselves and gets involved on that level, then they'll know how to spot the right people, but they'll also appreciate them and be good to them, and
Right.
and they'll have a really solid team around them that way.
Right. Exactly. I'm looking forward to it. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of like a pastor. He can't make all the hospital visits and can't do everybody's wedding, or he can't, counsel every single person. I mean, he has to have people behind him. He has to have a team, and you have to have an extension of that eventually because it does make your artistry suffer because all of your, not only just financial, but your emotional and spiritual, investment, gets so soaked up and being an artist that it's real hard to get creative on the other ends of it.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely is.
So as far as like, if what is it that you want as far as your music? What do you want to happen when people either come hear you sing or they listen to your songs? Like, what is your ultimate hope that happens?
My ultimate hope is that it just draws people to God. I mean, I know that sounds like a generic answer, but
It's the best
um,
one.
yeah, that's it. I just wanted to draw people to God. I just wanted to uh, not only reach the lost, but encourage the believer.
Yeah.
Um, that's what it's about. I think sometimes people forget that, uh, you know, the music, the gospel, is, we're called to reach the lost. And I think sometimes we can get so focused on the church. And it's like, no, I wanted to encourage the believer. I wanted to bless the believer, but I wanted to reach people that don't know Jesus. Um, so that's definitely what I want. I want to be creative with my writing without compromising the Word of God. And that's when people see me, I want them to see a reflection of who He is, His love, compassion, and generosity. That's what I'm looking forward to with my music.
And that's important because I think people don't realize that the music industry, I've been around long enough to remember when there wasn't much Christian music out. We had like Striper, Petra, Sandy Patty, Larnell Harris, Michael W. Smith. I mean, we had like, we couldn't even probably get a dozen, you know? And now it's like there's a banquet of styles and different artists, but for some reason we're still dining on the same style like all the time. They're, you know what I
Right.
mean? And like it's the same artists all the time. They'll have 12 artists that they recycle the same songs every hour. Like, and that I think that's they're great artists, but man, are they missing out. I mean, and unfortunately too, I think it raises the importance of who the artist is a little too much because I have artists that have been in the industry like John Schlitt of Petra. He's been doing this since like 1972, and there's not a more gracious man on the planet. But then there's people that have been out there a couple of years that are literally like they already think they are the next, level of whatever, Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, whatever you want to say. Like
Right.
they have that like air about them. Like they don't want to, they're very, they don't want to talk, until they have to. They want to, you know, be, kind of mysterious or whatever. And it's like, Matthew West, one of the things that hit me most is he was headlining a festival in Michigan, if people don't know him, like he's one of the most sincerest people out there, and I'm so glad because his music's such a great impact. But I don't think people realize that, like that was the first time he headlined that particular festival, and the festival was like, okay, he's not going to be signing autographs. He's the last guy of the night. He's not going to talk with fans or meet with anybody. And I happen to know Matthew for a few years, and I saw his dad backstage, and I said, "What's up with Matthew not signing autographs? We got to talk." And he said, "Who said that?" And I said, "Well, the festival said no autographs." I said, "I just wanted my poster signed for the station because everybody else was on it but him." And he said, "Oh no, that's not happening." And he said Matthew would never have that. So literally, the first thing he said when he got out on stage that night is he said, "No matter what you might have heard," he said, "I will be at my merchandise table until the last person wants to say hi." He said, "If that's two people, oh well, that's two people." But he said, "But if I'm here till midnight, then I'm here till midnight." And he sat there and this was an audience of like 20,000 people. And I'm
Wow.
pretty sure that the festival people are like, "Oh, no, he didn't say that." But, sadly, that's some of them literally will not lift their eyes backstage. Like they won't look at you because they're afraid you're going to engage in conversation. Like, and that is so the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing in music. That's why I love our radio station because it's diverse and we have every color of host you can think of, different social economic backgrounds, and the music too. We play rock, we play hip hop, we play country, we play it all. And I think that's what people are, sadly missing. That's why Winter Jam's so successful because they put a little bit of everything out there. And I hate that the independent artists struggle so much to get, in the forefront because those are the people that are like you're talking about Prescott and the Cowboys. They're hungry,
Right.
they're hungry to serve people. And when you don't have to starve, like when you're kind of at certain levels, unfortunately, you can kind of lose that, and my prayer is that there's a shift in the culture of Christian music, because they need to, it needs to be a lot more even. There's like a vacuum in between the independents and the major label artists. And I expect that in the secular world. I totally do. But I think they're more accepting of indie artists than Christian music is. And I want to see more artists like you that are out there hungry to serve people, to be able to get them in front of other people and as many people as possible. That's my rant.
Oh, exactly, exactly. That's why it's so hard. One of the difficulties, one of the biggest difficulties I know for me is trying to get airplay with all these, with the major artists is difficult. That's why I thank God for stations like you guys that just hear a good song that will bless somebody and play it. I wish the major stations thought like that. That would be awesome. But I'm grateful for anybody that plays my song, to be honest. And I'm grateful for you guys. Definitely appreciate you.
Well, I grew up with Bart Millard all my life, that started Mercy Me. And what people don't know is for like 6 or 7 years before I Can Only Imagine, their whole thing was they used to say, we'll play for Taco Bell and Directions Home. Like that was their thing. I mean, they played for free. They played for 2 people, for 10 people. They played for, youth camps, whatever. They just played anything. And they were, I mean, they all had regular jobs because they couldn't afford to live like that. I mean, and I Can Only Imagine he wrote in 10 minutes time, like, because it was just what, I mean, God let it, he put it on his heart. And the best songs he's ever done have been those that he was just struck with, wrote it down, got it down, and they just played it. And it's harder. I feel like now he's still struggling. Like it's hard for him to just let go and be creative, because now he's in the industry as a cog. He's like, you've got to produce this much music every year. And he's fought it a lot. He's fought against people trying to book him on dates where he's told them when his wife was on bed rest with her pregnancy, he's had 0 interviews, and somebody booked him for an interview that he had to fly to. And he was like, yeah, I will not, you want me to not sing? I'll just quit. Like, come after me. But, his wife, you don't mess with that. His wife being pregnant. And
Right.
so even people don't realize that, even the artists themselves are fighting the industry, because for every label that's getting everybody airplay, they're owned by secular organizations. So they're run like a business. It's a business to them. It's not a ministry to them. So even the artists themselves have a hard time with it. But I see great things for you, because it's kind of like one of those things when you're watching like American Idol and you just see somebody come out with like stage presence, and you're like, I don't know if they're going to stick with this, but that they could take this somewhere. And I really see that in you. I really see there's a presence about you and the way you are, just watching your social media and your music. I think you have an incredible gift, and I hope everybody sees it. I hope they recognize it enough to give you the exposure you need to reach people for the kingdom.
Man, thank you so much. Yeah, that's all it is. Right? It's just about reaching people. God said, "Let your light so shine before men, and then you see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven." And I just want to let my light shine and just be different. And I told God, if you just give me the opportunity, Father, I will be the artist and the minister that you called me to be, and I will love the people. I think that's the most important thing, honestly, is loving people, because anything that you do for God, everybody will be used by God, but they don't love people. And anything that you do for God is going to have
it's going to involve people. Yep.
Yeah. So you got to have the right heart, his character, his reflection, his compassion, his love. It's all about him. It's all about him. There's so many talented people out there, and they want the call of God without having the character of God. And I think that's the most important thing as an artist, even before the music, is developing your heart and your character. because that's what people are going to see on stage.
Well, if people want to find out more about you, do you have a website or do you use Facebook? How do you have people find out about you?
Oh, you can definitely come go on my website, michaeledmondsmusic.com. Also, you can follow me on Facebook, Michael Edmonds artist page, or you can go to my personal page, Michael Evans. As long as it lets me accept friend requests, I'm kind of reaching that peak now.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter, Michael Edmonds Music. Yeah, so just pretty much anywhere. Instagram, Michael Edmonds. I'm here.
Awesome. Well, we thank you so much, and we'll share this interview with all your social media and tag you. And we look forward to more music. Just keep sending it to us because it's good stuff, and we need more of it. So just keep sending it to us.
Definitely will. Thank you so much.